Welcome my friends, it's Admiral Revan here, and today it's going to be an interesting video I have in store for you. So I want to start off with giving a bit of creditation towards somebody in this video, towards two people. I will give acknowledgement and creditation towards Aerroon and also KGBTerminator, two very talented individuals. KGBTerminator has been doing a lot of skins for World of Warships in the past, and now I have seen and got the gist of it from how to make your own World of Warship skins, thanks to a video that was done by Aerroon years ago, that was back in version 5. So my friends, definitely go check out these lovely people. A big shout out to them both, and thank you for making this video possible. Okay, so anything in this video, folks, I want to stress it out to you. Please make a backup of the game before you do any changes. Anything to do with modding in a game as such, please always back up the game itself first before you actually do this sort of thing. It is imperative to make sure that you do that sort of thing, because anything you could have done wrong, you could always revert it back. Now, anything in this video can subject to change, so I just want to explain that as well as we go throughout this whole process. The thing is that what you're seeing here is that you need to download the World of Warships unpacking tool. It's an unpacking game client resources package where it detects the game resources in the game itself, and you can export it into a certain file or folder directory of your own choice. Now, the biggest thing about it is that it exports these game files, like the resources that's used for the game, so that you can do what you need to do for modding the warship of your own choice. Now, as you can see here, that this is an example of what the utility tool looks like at the basic setup. Okay, so what you were seeing previously with other videos of people who have done in the past, the game client for World of Warships always, gets updated and stuff like that, which we all know. However, in terms of the World of Warships unpacking tool, for the first time use, it always detects the game location and everything before you launch the application. If the file is not moved into the right folder where it should be, it will spit the dummy at you. And pretty much you just need to move the file to the right folder. As you can see here, that this is the basic graphical interface of what the application is. So it's not too bad. It does the job all around. And it's pretty nifty to have, actually. The first step is to actually download the program and move it into the right game folder. So as you can see here in this example, they have used the default World of Warships game directory as this video is presented to you. Now, what I recommend you to do is make a note of that. If you have a customized folder for World of Warships, the game installation, like for example C drive World of Warships, then you just put that to C drive World of Warships instead of C games World of Warships. Now you just remember that the Steam version is compatible with the game, so there is that option as well too. Okay, so the first step is to actually make sure you launch the application in the World of Warships folder. You got it installed, and basically it detects, the resource folders and everything like that in the game, and says like, well, I have detected it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and, start looking it up on this. So what it does is that basically downloads the update, the latest update, and it connects to the server for the World of Warships plugin tool, and then just says, alright, now I've got the latest version, like say for example 9.9 in this video, for example. Once it's got that version, the next thing you need to do is to follow the steps of loading the content. Now, what it does is that it pulls down the list of files from all the ships and everything, the modules of, you know, different nations and stuff like that, game mechanics, everything like that. It just tweaks it up a bit to the point that it loads a lot of information. Then you can manually go through it all just to perform the basic functionality. As you can see here, is like after downloading the content tree, you can select the necessary files and folders and add them to lists of the task of the unpacking utility. Adding can be done by pressing the double arrow, which is this icon over here, by dragging an item from the content tree to the unpacking list. And pretty much you can add additional file locations by the plus sign button by pasting the file address by Control V. Fair enough. So there's a little bit of steps involved in doing this. Okay. This is where the program settings and functions and the configuration of the application is there for you. So I would recommend that anything to do with doing this sort of like changes and stuff like that, it gives you the opportunity to back up the game right there as well, in terms of the resources, the files, into a temporary folder like this. I have to admit though that if you want to use customized folders for yourself for exporting and, you know, keeping the packages in the directory and stuff, this is another way to do it as well too. So definitely it's very handy to have. The one crucial factor is that when you read this information, it is important for you to read all the steps from top to bottom. If there is a certain language that you want it done in, this individual that has made a post, for example, he can be reachable, and you can ask the person and say, hey, look, you know, saw your lovely post about this. Let's talk about, you know, making it available in, say, Korean or Japanese or, you know, whatever, you know, is suitable for your language barrier. Now, the info dialog window, this is a pretty interesting one. The info dialog window is actually pretty straightforward. It's gives you about the details about the version of the application, who's it done by, and it's pretty straightforward. It's fun to use, and it's available on the RU, EU, NA, Asia servers. Now, the other thing in here is that you can actually see some shortcuts on how to navigate and use the application when it's in standby mode. So that's actually pretty handy to have. And also some cool, well, commands. Maybe not so much about commands, but it gives you an idea where, you know, certain things are and stuff like that. So anything you see in here can subject to change. It is actually pretty, you know, pretty nice overall to use and put together. So that is the gist of it, and now we'll go with the steps of putting this together. Okay, so the fun part begins now. You have backed up the game, you're ready to do what you need to do to get the tool working. So the first part is to download the tool with these links here. The next thing is you need to copy that tool program and put it into the World of Warships folder. So in this case, in the World of Warships folder is located here. So I'm gone over here and pasted the file like so. Once you have put the file in there, you double click to execute it, and it connects to the live server where it downloads the latest updates. Once it's been done, you can actually see the program appear like so. So that's step one. Step two is the fun part. So basically, you load the content to see if the program works. Just test it out, see, make sure it works. The functionality is there. Expand the tree and you can see a whole heap of stuff in there. That's awesome, okay? The next fine part is to get the actual program configured to your liking. Now, under settings here, I have to admit there's a lot of, cool stuff that you can do, alright? So you can actually customize it to export this resources and skins and that into a separate folder. I do that for safety reasons. So basically what I do is that I just click use customize folders in this case, and then basically on a different hard drive or folder of your choice, create a folder that is suitable for you. So what I've done is that in the past I have created a backup of the game res packages folder. So the res packages folder has a whole heap of resources information. That's where it pulls up the game from in this tool. So that's one of the main reasons why we back it up. Now in this retrospect, I'm gonna create an output directory. Okay, so this is where I want to export my ship skins and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna call wows res unpack, just like that, like the way it's been done there. And then pretty much I will try to copy the path and paste it in here, and I can't, as you can see. So what I need to do is manually do it the hard way. So I go to where my folder is located, and then I'll just go like, yep, okay, and done. And then I just click OK. Notice that everything's all fine and dandy, so you can double check the settings again, make sure it's all happy. Alright. So you have already made the changes, with your settings and everything. So you just double check your settings and everything, making sure you're okay with it and you're fine with it and moving forward. So the fun part now is to actually export the data, the content that you want. Now the ship skins are located under content, and you expand it here and notice that all the nations are here. And then you expand like the nation that you want to use it on. So in this case it'll be United States for me. The ship, now you can double check on the categories, the class of ships there. You got a battleship, and basically I'll look for the word Ohio because I want to demonstrate it in this video. Now notice that it only shows the geometry. That is what we want. Okay, so that is not what we want in this part of the whole video, because that's actually something all completely different. However, if you scroll down and you notice a subfolder here called textures. Now textures is actually where all the skins and that are. Notice that this is where a lot of different file types are. Okay, so there's a lot of different file types. Now the file types that you're seeing here is actually .dds and also .dd0, dd1, dd2, etc. Okay, all these file types are very different. I have to admit that it's actually pretty full on when I see this sort of thing going on. So this is where the fun begins in moving forward here. So what we need to do is scroll down and look for Ohio. So there's the Ohio, and notice that there's the deck house, and there's all broken up into different components and stuff. So what we need to do in this video is that we need to export all these DDS, DD001 to how many file extensions there are. So basically what you need to do is that you hold your left click down first on the item that you want to highlight, then hold your left shift key down on your keyboard and left click again as so to select the item specifically that you want. And then what you need to do is that using this double arrow here icon, they also lift and drag the items that you want to select and go unpack. This will take a little while to unpack the items. It can be a lot of items, so please bear with it. it does take a little while to do, to process the whole thing. So once that's been done, you can actually wait for it to be prompting you, and once it does prompt you, it'll actually let you know what the list of new files are that's been unpacked, and you can scroll down the list if you wish, but you can click OK. And then you'll be prompted a window of where you have exported files to. So you can go to a folder here called Content, Gameplay, USA, Ship, Battleship, Textures. And here are all your texture files. That's awesome, right? So the next question is, how do I edit these files? So the files that you need to edit is the .dds file extension, okay? So it can be edited through different programs. Now some people swear by Adobe Photoshop, for example, using the DDS plugin. So if you download the NVIDIA exporter tool, texture tool, exporter tool, you can actually import it across and through Adobe Photoshop and get it working. Now this article is old, but this is just an example, okay? However, I found a better program that Aerroon mentioned, and I think it's a lot more easier to use and simplistic, and I use paint.net. So paint.net is a very easy, free program to use. You can download it, it's easy to use, and it gets updated every now and then, so definitely go check it out. It's actually fantastic. I will leave a link of this down below for you to download. Alright, so the texture files have been exported and you have already installed paint.net. So what we need to do here is actually have a look on this ship in terms of everything that's on it. So what we need to do is, if we're going to edit something on the hull of the warship, we're going to have to make it something a bit more interesting. So let's just open the program up. So first time using it, you right click on it and go open with, and basically I use paint.net. So basically you can select always, open with DDS files with paint.net. You can choose not to if you wish, but this is what it looks like. So pretty much, as you can scroll, zoom in a little bit using the control key, use it to zoom in a little bit. As you can see here, there's a lot of stuff on here that you can use. Now there's a lot of cool things that I found out with this program that I thought at first, is it really ideal to do this? Well, yeah, apparently you can. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how to edit this in more detail. Alright, so the fun part is editing this. Okay, you got the layer ready to go. I decided to be a little bit different with this approach, and pretty much what I thought about it was actually using some emotes, for example, in this example, on how to put them on the ship skin. Now, basically, I have a whole bunch of emotes, and you're wondering how to lift it and drag it across there. So pretty much what I do is that in this example, I just click a random emote, lift and drag it, and add it as a layer. And there you go. You can resize it as appropriate, using the shift key to keep it to its size and proportions. And ta-da! Oops. And then you can bring it down. Now, as you're using control key to zoom in, you can actually zoom in the actual item as such. But like this is just showing an example here of how it works out. So here we go. Basically you can put it on there. You can do Control C to copy and paste it, and then basically you can lift the other item down below. Now if you're wondering how to rotate it, you can actually flip it around if you wish, and it actually looks pretty damn decent, mind you. I mean, I thought it was actually pretty cool doing so. But this is just I'm just showing it for education purposes. Now here's another thing. I'm gonna do a bit of a squiggly line. You know, just writing some random stuff on there. So basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna draw the paintbrush. I'm gonna be very crafty by doing so. With a paintbrush, I'm gonna just put AR and I'm gonna put some random text there. I'm gonna put AR here, and you know, like I'm just mucking around. Okay, so I'm gonna save it. So if you're being asked to save it, basically just go save, and basically you just want to keep it as DDS. It's the same file type and everything, and then you just say yep, save, override it, and it will prompt you like this window here. That's fine, just click OK, click flatten. That's all right. So that's all done. Okay, that is all done. Now the next question is where to from here? Well, okay, so that is the file path of what you got there. Okay, pretty much what you're seeing is that you got the content folder, you right click on it, and you go to World of Warships. Now, let's go to World of Warships. Okay, go to the game directory, World of Warships, presto, and then go for the bin folder, and go to the latest mod station or as the mods update. This is also a generic gaming folder as well for the actual basic mechanics anyways. So go ahead and go to the latest version like so. Go to a folder called resmods and paste the content folder here. Terribly sorry about that, but what I said earlier just before I got cut off, make sure that you copy the edited content folder that you did and paste it into the bin folder, latest mods folder, res mods. And as you can see, everything is there, ready to go. So what we need to do now is that we need to fire up the game. So let's do that. Now, waiting for the game to be loaded up. So the game is loading up. While we're waiting for it to come up, it should load up the actual skin mod and everything. Now what we need to do, because we edited the Ohio, we need to look at it. So let's just see if we got it. The Ohio. And well, check it out. We got a little bit of squiggly lines there going on. Mucking around with the avatar and such. And yeah, it's like slowly there. I mean, like, it's quite evident that I have edited it. But this is just an example of what you can do with it. It's actually pretty cool. It's fun. But I will show you a bit of a masterpiece artwork of what my friend did. And we'll take it from there. Bear with me. Okay, so we loaded our friend's skin on the game right now. It's ready to go, and I'm about to demonstrate this in a minute here. So basically, when you go to the Ohio now, this is what it looks like. Now, this is without the turrets being done, and as you can see, but as you can tell that the hull looks very impressive, right? So just remember that you have to do it differently for different components of the ship. And this is like, you know, for the hull, the guns, the AA, by the looks of it, and a few other things. I mean, like, if you look at the unpacking tool, that there's a lot of, you know, different items for certain things. You know, for example, if you got a main and there's textures, and then you scroll down and look for the right file of the guns of the ship and stuff like that, and need to export that. And I will show you an example of what my friend did overall in the end, what he had to do with the Ohio. So this is an example of putting all the files together. So what he did was that he basically examined the ship from top to bottom of every single detail, and I have to say every single detail, because it is pretty detailed just by looking at it. So here we go, my apologies, but this is a very detailed layout of the ship. So the guns, the turrets and this sort of thing, you know, like you notice that he's got a whole heap of things. With the PSD files, if you use it for Adobe Photoshop, bit of a pro tip, don't need to keep them there. You can put them somewhere else somewhere. You can use PSD files to edit this sort of thing, but that's really up to you. Then save it as DDS, but yeah, just be careful. But I have to say that what's important is to understand what can be used and can't be used. So in this sense, I have only got a particular thing of the ship, so I got the ship texture only, okay? So if I were to grab all those other stuff, it'll be a lot prettier. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move myself to another ship, like the Stalingrad, for example, and then I'm going to copy the other stuff, the other folders, into the actual content folder. And wow, okay. It may not be what I hoped, but we'll see. Alright, let's try it. No, not what I hoped. Because they are different categories. But it is a little bit different, that's for sure. But yes, you know, this is just like takes a bit of mucking around and stuff. But as you can see, that when you go here and like you want to export, you know, particular guns and stuff like that, if you're wondering about that, the textures for a gun and stuff sort of thing, what I would recommend you do is that you select the one you want to try and go unpack, and notice that the file path where it goes, and yeah, I have a feeling when you see it pop up, notice that there. So I have a feeling that if you want to do it this way, you probably need to have it like that set up there, in that sense, and we'll see what happens. So we go away, but no. almost but it's just like, you know, bit of a tricky start there. Let me just triple check and make sure. Okay, I had a quick look in terms of the guns and everything like that. It is slightly different in regarding to the weapons and things like that. So you need to make sure when you go back to the content folder in here for the unpacking tool, work your way through and find out the gun that you need expanded on, and also the other items like, you know, the director, the finder, and things like that. There are texture folders for each one because there's a DDS file. I have to admit, the only way for you to understand that when you look at these warships is that you need to pay attention to, like, for example, the weapons, like the ones that you're using out there, and make sure it's all good, you know. Expand the right ones out there, and then you'll notice a bit of an interesting outcome when you expand them from the unpacking tool here. So let's just, for example, for the actual gun texture, so like you go to guns, go to main, scroll down to the bottom where it says texture. Let's just, you know, select a good example here, like these ones here, select that and unpack. And what it comes out like is like under content, gameplay, USA, gun, main, textures. There's the DDS files. You can edit those files, customize it the way you want it, and copy that folder gun, and then basically where is it? I'm just looking for it right now. The latest bin folder, res mods, content, gameplay, USA. Paste it there, and you put the gun folder in there. That should work. If it doesn't, that's okay. I mean, like, that's a work in progress. But folks, again, quickly just to recap and do this in a quick summary, a big shout out to KGBTerminator and Aerroon. Great job, guys. Great job. Fantastic all round. I do want to say a big thank you for the chance and opportunity to get in this video updated for the people out there who are interested in skin modding and things like that. Definitely have fun in doing so, my friends. If you have any more information that you want to learn from this experience, please let us know, and I'm sure we will get back to you. Until then, stay safe, take care everybody. Thanks again for joining this video. Quickly, a big shout out to KGBTerminator and Aerroon. And definitely, this video was done in recognition for them both. And until then, my friends, please take it easy, stay safe out there, and have a good one wherever you are around the world. Hope this video was very helpful.